All right. Welcome to our next unit. A difficult unit, let's be honest. This is not a pleasant topic for any American. The events surrounding September 11, 2001. We're going to spend 6 lectures on this topic because it's an important topic for obvious reasons. We'll begin today with that day, September 11th, 2001. In the second lecture, we'll look at the perpetrators and their hideout, Al-Qaeda, and Operation Enduring Freedom, the invasion of Afghanistan in October of 2001. And we'll turn our attention back to the Western Hemisphere, to Guantanamo Bay, to Camp X-Ray, the place where hundreds of foreign fighters who were captured in Afghanistan were taken after the initial invasion in October 2001, a place that's still very much in the news today. In the fourth lecture, we'll look in particular at the 9/11 Commission. The 9/11 Commission sought to find answers for what went wrong, what can we do in the future to prevent another 9/11. And in time permitting, we might talk a bit about the burgeoning industry of conspiracy theories about what actually happened on 9/11, just as there is a large number of people who believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was not the only assassin against John F. Kennedy in 1963. There are many people in this country who believe that the official story of what happened on 9/11 is not what actually happened. And we'll investigate their claims in the fourth lecture. In the fifth lecture, we'll ask the question, where in the world is Osama bin Laden? We allegedly had him cornered in the Tora Bora Mountains in October of 2001. It's June of 2009. He's still on the loose. Where is Osama bin Laden? And then in lecture 6, look at the situation in Pakistan, a country that had supported the Taliban prior to September 11th, a country that is fighting against Taliban insurgency within their own borders and in the Swat Valley that straddles the Afghan-Pakistani border. Let's start, though, with the year before September 11th. We have a piece of primary source evidence. We have another Congressional Research Service report. November 3rd, 2000, the day before the 2000 presidential election, we have a report on the Persian Gulf. This report focuses almost exclusively on 2 main countries, Iran and Iraq. Quote, in May 1993, the Clinton administration articulated a policy of dual containment of Iran and Iraq. The administration explained the policy as an effort to keep both Iran and Iraq strategically weak simultaneously, in contrast to past policies that sought to support either Iran or Iraq as a counterweight to the other. Obviously, during the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, the United States sided with our enemy's enemy, Saddam Hussein. Dual containment. 1993, through here, 3 November 2000. And while this report focused extensively on Iran and Iraq, there was mention on page 11 of a certain Osama bin Laden. You find, quote, at large in Afghanistan is an exiled Saudi opposition figure, Osama bin Laden, who is not a religious authority but is viewed by some Saudis as a revolutionary Islamic figure who is fighting to expel U.S. influence from Saudi territory. Some observers maintain that many Saudis privately agree with bin Laden. The Saudi regime has turned the kingdom into a vassal state of the United States. Bin Laden supporters and other Islamic activists are present in the other Gulf states, Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and there are occasional reports of specific threats to U.S. forces or personnel, but they do not pose a major challenge to the other regimes. That's true. Al-Qaeda was not going to overthrow any governments in the region. But obviously, we missed the signs here. We missed them badly. Osama bin Laden is treated as a marginal, charismatic figure here in the CRS report, 3 November 2000. If we skip ahead a year to August 6, 2001, we have a remarkable piece of primary source evidence. It's a PDB, President's Daily Brief, prepared by the intelligence services. This is something the President gets every day. And on August 6, 2001, the PDB was entitled, "Bin Laden Determined to Strike in U.S." Salient points. There's an historical aspect, if you will. We'll come back to that term later. An historical aspect in this document, charting back to the 1993 first attack on the World Trade Center with a truck bomb. Resulted in a lot of casualties, but very, very few fatalities, and obviously the buildings remain standing. This PDB maintains that the World Center trade bombing in 1993 was an Al-Qaeda attack. Moreover, the embassy bombings, a trial for one of the defendants in these bombings is happening right now. Simultaneous truck bombings in Kenya and Tanzania of the U.S. embassies, also blamed on Al-Qaeda. And the so-called Millennium Plot, intended to blow up LAX, also is argued here as an Al-Qaeda attack. But that's not all. It's not all at all. We find, moreover, quote, Al-Qaeda members, including some who are U.S. citizens, have resided in or traveled to the U.S. for years. And the group apparently maintains a support structure that could aid attacks. FBI information indicates patterns of suspicious activity in this country consistent with preparations for hijackings or other types of attack, including recent surveillance of federal buildings in New York. Suspicious activity in this country consistent with preparations for hijackings. August 6, 2001. Bin Laden determined to strike in U.S. President's Daily Brief, 6 August 2001. 5 weeks later, Americans awoke to an unusual story on their television screen.